Alright guys and girls, so I'm going to do a quick video for you guys and girls. So watching that James Bond tonight, guys and girls, or yesterday now I should say. Let's put a little bit of light on there, brighten up my face a little bit. Anyway, so watch the No Time to Die. If you don't like spoilers, don't watch it, guys and girls, because if you've been anticipating that film, don't watch this. I'm warning you. There's going to be some spoilers. A lot of spoilers. I wouldn't say a lot of spoilers, but the ending plot and all that kind of stuff. Now, we all knew that this whole film was going to be Daniel Craig's last movie. Because he said he wasn't doing any more movies. But the biggest shocker in movie history, I'll tell you what, I'm actually almost broken at watching this movie. Like, in a sense, I'm literally, like, I had almost a trigger just watching the movie at the end, the whole film and stuff. It was like an emotional roller coaster, in a sense. I mean, it was probably one of the best James Bond movies I've seen ever. And I've seen all of the James Bond films, all 25 of them now. And to be honest with you, I never expected it. I never really expected this. I thought, because I went in all open-minded, but I didn't even really think about this situation either. And, okay, so from the trailer, we all know that James Bond's got a love, right? He's got a love. He's got a woman in his sort of boudoir, as they call it. Is it boudoir? Or in his home. In his life, in this new James Bond film, in No Time to Die, James Bond 25. And we know he's the daughter of Spectre. I think it's she's the daughter of Spectre. Or the leader of Spectre. Now, James Bond himself, he's in love with her, but he's also emotionally detached as well from her, because he doesn't know if she's working for Spectre or if she's with him, or she wants him dead or not, or whatever. But so James Bond sort of like goes to this, I think it's some grave. I don't know if it's someone called Lida. I don't know if that's his mother or if it was one of his previous lovers or something. I think it was like 1950s or 1970s on the grave, apparently, when they're supposed to have passed away on the grave. So I don't know if it's something, the actual thing was basically linked to it. But anyway, the movie itself has tie-ins and links in there with George Lazenby's movie On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And I actually, if you watch the trailers, the movie trailer, guys and girls, there's actually tie-ins with this movie, I think. And also, so basically, James is like in the car, and his girlfriend, I don't know if it's girlfriend or wife and stuff, they didn't really explain how. I think it's probably his girlfriend. So she's in the car with him, and she's like, says to James, go faster, because he wasn't going faster. And he goes, why would we need to go any faster? We've all got all the time in the world and all that. Now, that is a quote from the Louis Armstrong music version of We Have All the Time in the World from Her Majesty's Secret Service. Now, I knew this on the start. I knew this about 6 months going back, 7 months going back. This would have some tie-ins. Now, we all knew, right, and I thought the whole scenes was going to be that basically they would do like a James Bond 26 into the tie-in. Now, obviously, it's a 3-hour movie. I think it was like 2 hours, 40 minutes. I think there was 50, actually, it was 2 hours, 2 hours, 85 minutes. I think it was 2 hours, no, not 2 hours, 85 minutes. What am I saying? 2 hours, 2 hours and, yeah, about 45, 2 hours, 45. It was about 15 minutes off, 3 hours. So getting to this point with the tie-ins, with the movie, and I thought it was going to be somewhere along the lines that James Bond probably gets married at the end, and then sort of drives around the corner, and then his wife gets popped in there and gets shot and killed. But here's the twist. Now, we know she's the daughter of Spectre in some sort of ways. Didn't explain how or who's actually Spectre. Well, I think Spectre is I think he was the guy who was at the one who's supposed to be locked up in the prison. I don't know if it's him or not. Oh, Blofeld. I don't think it is him, but I think it was another guy's Spectre. Now, there was it was 5 years later. There was a lot of action before 5 years up, right? Actually, before. So at the start is like the action sequences of him sort of walking along the bridge. Someone's trying to kill him. There's an explosion at the grave site that he's sort of looking at. He's gone to this tombstone, looked at it. Next minute, you hear this click, 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 click. It's like a sort of time bomb going off. Nearly ends up killing him, blowing him up, and he goes flying, and he can't hear. And then, basically, it sort of goes to the point where there's a lot of shoot 'em ups. They're trying to kill him. A guy on a motorbike tries to run him over, tries to shoot him and all that, and he kicks him off his motorbike. And then you see him get on the motorbike and he's like sort of racing through to get to certain areas, try and get to his wife or girlfriend, and he thinks she's actually tried to set him up and told everybody where he is and all this kind of stuff because they're on holiday. I think he's there with her, spending time with his girlfriend, and they're on a love sort of vacation with each other, hiding out from, I think, Spectre. And so she says she's not part of this Spectre, she's not working for him and all this kind of stuff. He's in his heart, he's kind of sort of going both ways, left and right. He's sort of like in between. He don't know what's going on and all this shit. Now, Spectre is that group, the ones that wanted him dead, but I think they wanted him to join before, if I remember, in the last movie or some shit, and or I think his dad or something was a part of Spectre. I don't know, something. I haven't watched him for a while, so I'm gonna have to go back to the main storyline on it. But what I've gathered so far is 5 years passes. First of all, the end or the start, the intro is where they got that Billie Eilish music playing for the thing. Then it cuts off and then goes into like 5 years later, and they're at a laboratory, and the guy from that comedy series from My Hero, Dr. Crispin, he's actually in it, the comedian one. So they put him in there, and he's like sort of talking to this other scientist bloke, and they're trying to make it out, saying, "Oh, where's all this viruses and stuff? Oh, some viruses escaped and all this kind of stuff." And like they has it on this bloke's on his little sandwich box about this virus thing, and they that they're making out like they gave it or someone picked up the wrong thing for food and all that. So there's a bit of sort of comedy in there as well. And then it goes into like sort of where they're in the labs. One of the scientists gets a call that this. Oh, actually, no. So basically, before then, so this one guy, Rami Malek's character, it's like he's walking to this house with this girl and this mother's, she's really ill, she's poorly or something, and she says to her daughter, get me some tablets and all that to get my medication. She goes to her daughter. Next minute, this guy's walking across, like it's almost like a snowy sort of scene. So there's a lot of snow and ice and stuff. And there's this little girl who's, I think she's the daughter of Spectre. She's basically been sort of looking after her mum, and her mum says, do you know what your dad does? He's a killer and all that. He goes round and kills people and murders people, but her daughter doesn't believe it. So there's this bloke, Rami Malek's character, comes in, he breaks into the house, he shoots the woman who's really ill and sick and all that, and then he's basically trying to get this girl. Now the girl's hiding under bed, she's sort of doing a thing, but there's this like bit of the scene where she shoots him and he flies off the banister from above onto the floor, and then she's like, you see him, you see the daughter, the Spectre's daughter, dragging Rami Malek's body along the snow outside, and then he wakes up, but he's got this like mask on, so he's got scar tissue all over his face. Now, beforehand, so Rami Malek's character, this girl's mother, the one that said about her father's a killer, a serial killer or murderer or whatever, he basically killed Rami Malek's parents. And Rami Malek's character, who plays the character, he's in there to try and get revenge and try and sort of get vengeance in that way. So many years later, so he kills the mother to try because he's trying to find the father as well, the Spectre, and which I think is the one in prison, if I remember rightly. It might be him or Blofeld. I think he might be the Spectre. I think it is. So this is a long film, don't forget, so I'm trying to get as much information as I can, or try and give you as much information on the film as possible. So his character is like on the floor. He gets shot by that girl. She's dragging him through the snow. And for some reason, he wakes up and he's like, he's got bullets on him, but he's waking up and he's like sort of almost dazed out on the floor. And he sees the girl. The girl runs off. She's running off into like the snowy hills, mountain sort of things to try and get away from him. But she's on ice, and she's running across the ice. He's running after her. He was going to try and shoot her, but he sort of like follows her. She's gone on ice, and next minute the ice actually starts to crack and all that kind of stuff. And then suddenly she goes through to the ice into the water underneath, and she's under the water and she can't, like, she's trying to get up, but she's in the ice and it's all frozen up. Anyway, Rami Malek's character, for some reason, sort of comes by the ice, and he sees her through the floor, looking through the ice and stuff as she's stuck under it. Now, I thought he was going to get revenge and wipe out the entire family. Now, his character shoots around the ice, and next minute he gets her out of the water. So basically, he wants to I think he saved her life, and then so many years later, he comes knocking on the door because he still wants to see her, but he feels like anyone who's attached to her in that way, he wants to make her suffer so she doesn't have a boyfriend or husband and all that. He wants to kill. Now, the little girl turns out to be, so many years later, James Bond's girlfriend, who's the daughter of Spectre. Now, it gets so many years later, it cuts into the scene and it says 5 years later, when the cutscene finishes to do with James Bond's intro music. Then someone ends up going to the labs. I think it's Rami Malek's character who sends a team in to take these blood samples, the like sort of DNA, sort of biological, just like a biological weapon or something, a biohazard weapon. And the scientist bloke who's trying to do it, he's trying to stop any of these bad guys trying to get them, so he changes over the codes and all this kind of stuff. But this virus or whatever it is, it goes into the bloodstream and it attaches to your DNA, like it's a code. Now, anyone else who's so basically they get targeted. Some of these people who have got the virus, they're only the carriers. So they make a carrier sort of code, which basically, if someone who's got it already in the bloodstream, they could go up to the other person if they've been targeted. So if the other person has been targeted and they come up to them and they rub it all over, or it could be like a perfume or something, or goes into the bloodstream and then it wrecks their whole face and just sort of turns their face into some sort of acid and kills them off. But it kills off the blood cells or something inside. So what happens is Rami Malek's character comes up with this biological weapon to try and get revenge for his parents' death. And he's going after basically the MI6, MI5 or whatever it is, James Bond's people. But he's after James Bond himself, because he wants to kill him, because then that way that girl will not, or that woman who's James Bond's girlfriend, will not sort of have anyone, because she comes in and she's I think she's a doctor or something, or psychiatrist. She goes in to see the patient and it turns out to be Rami Malek's character, and he says something to her along the lines that he said, "When I saved your life, I own you now." So he says to her, "I own you because I've saved your life." He said, "Now you own me." And so basically he's like on a sort of a revenge sort of thing going on, but he wants to get James Bond, wants to kill him off and all that. So it goes along the lines, but before they do, there's this like biological weapon. They go to Spectre. Now Spectre is this big massive corporation where they're trying to basically, it's like a secret society sort of thing going on, and there's like loads of them. Now James Bond comes in, he's got this thing going on where he's going to see Spectre and all that, and he's been invited, and it's supposed to be Blofeld's birthday, and he's trying to find out who this other guy is, Rami Malek's character, so they can find out why he's trying to kill everybody. Now he ends up doing this serum. There's a scientist bloke who comes there, and only James Bond is protected from this serum. Everybody else from Spectre ends up dead or gets choked on this thing. It gets like acid all over the face. Now, to that extent, they're wondering why. So he ends up going to where Blofeld's been said to, this like sort of like security prison, but because he's been watching them all, and you can hear him in the start of it. So they goes to find out who this other guy is, and he wants their help to find out about this biological weapon, because apparently I think he made it. He made this biological weapon, and he's trying to find out from Blofeld how to stop it and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, so going towards sort of near the end, there's like a little bit of a standoff between Rami Malek's character and James Bond, and he kidnaps basically James Bond's girlfriend, and we find out that beforehand. So basically, he goes to the house, he finds his girlfriend, and then she goes to him. Oh, just to let you know, yeah, we've got a little girl at the top stairs watching him from downstairs, and he's wondering who that is. And she's got the same colour eyes as James Bond. Now, we find out a little bit later that's actually James Bond's actually daughter, with his girlfriend. But she said to him at the before they left the building, "Oh, she's not yours," and all that. She's not yours. But it turns out it is his daughter, which is a bit of a strange one. So he's got a daughter now. Originally, when I watched this, I thought they're gonna kill off his girlfriend, a bit like the Manchester Secret Service. He was actually in the car with her, and they kill him and her, and because he tries to confront her, thinking that she's basically working for Spectre and wants him dead. And she's like begging and saying, "No, I don't work for Spectre," and all that. And if you don't mind, sort of trying to get us out. Now, there's like loads of people surrounded the car and all that, and they start trying to shoot up his car and all that, but there's not one bullet passes through the window. It's actually full on bulletproof, and it was actually really, really, really good, because you actually see it in the trailer. You see that little BMW circle round, and it starts circling round, and you start seeing shooting all of it. That's near the start of the movie, and then he tries to get her out. Well, actually, he does get her out, I should say. But the interesting sort of the shocker, actually, and I'll get to the shocker in a minute. But so basically, he goes when he finds out he's got a daughter, or this girl is part of his daughter's life and all that, and it's with his girlfriend there. Some people are trying to kill him, or trying to sort of come to his place. So what he does, he tells his girlfriend and his so-called daughter, he gets him into like a Humvee, not Humvee, but it's more like a 4x4, and they have this like off-road sort of car chase. And I'll tell you what, it's a really good car chase, actually. And he starts like sort of running into the other cars, and then running into the other ones, and you see all the cars flipping over and stuff, and they end up in the woods. So they end up in the woods and all that, and he covers over. The helicopters are coming there. We've got all the bloody people on the motorbikes coming there as well. They ends up having a big shootout in the woods and stuff. Really good, actually, worth watching though. And sort of it gets to the point where he's saying to his girlfriend, "Right, hold off here." He gives her a gun, and he said, "If they come in here, shoot them," and all that. So anyway, Rami Malek's character, so actually James Bond, first of all, is in the woods, and he's sort of killing all the bad guys and stuff. And Felix Leiter, he's dead, by the way. He ended up getting killed on a sinking ship, which ended up sinking, but he got shot because him and James Bond, they got sort of shafted over in a way. So they got basically screwed over because they got this scientist bloke. They were trying to work together, and it backfired them on all of them, because they had the bloke who had the code, and he kind of changed the code over. So they got screwed over. Felix Leiter ends up dead, which is, he said, oh, it's my brother and all that. Oh, James Bond said, oh, it's my brother, Felix Leiter. So, and I think it was the same actor as the one that is played in the previous Daniel Craig movies as Felix Leiter. He ends up dead anyway. So going into the woods, he ends up killing all these other people off in the woods, like the motorbikes. He uses a grenade launcher on a gun, blows up one of the other cars, and you see the cars flipping upside down. And then he squashes one of the blokes who was sitting on the floor. He pushes the truck, not a truck, but more of a sort of a Humvee on top of him, squashes him to death. That was pretty cool. Well, pretty cool to that sense. And then suddenly he's going back to this like little sort of room in the woods. He goes and sees this girlfriend and his daughter to see if they're there. They've disappeared because Rami Malek's character turned up and he's kidnapped them and he's put them on the helicopter to this secret laboratory or whatever it is in the place, like a big massive, I wouldn't say it's a factory, it's more like a factory and lab, so like a lab and factory combined together. But they've got all these like the DNAs and all these sort of biological weapons. So what he ends up doing, he goes with 007. Yes, there is another 007, by the way. They seem to be all 007s. And she goes, it's just a number. Anyway, 007, or James Bond himself, he loses, he actually gets, I think it's M. Yeah, so he talks to M. And M wanted him to go to the prison to find out information from Blofeld about this guy. So he ends up going there, and in the mix of it, right, in the mix of it, Blofeld ends up dead. The whole Spectre ends up dead as well. They all got killed off due to this like sort of biological weapon which James Bond actually had on his hands, and basically gave it to Blofeld because Blofeld was trying to sort of like antagonize him, and he goes in there to interrogate him and wants to find out where this bloke is or who's behind it all. And then he gets in a rage and starts trying to strangle Blofeld. And then while he lets go, because he said, oh, I'm not going to get angry, I'm not getting angry. But he did get angry and he started like trying to strangle him. The rest of the MI6 tried to stop him and all that. And he said, it's all right. He said, I'm stop. But next minute, Blofeld ends up dead. And he's got this like biological sort of thing all over his face. He's been sort of chemicalized with some sort of chemical inside his body. But it attaches on the face. And he was basically marked for death. So James Bond had this thing in his hand, which is, or in his bloodstream, which is like a DNA sort of blood, so almost like a death blood sort of thing, but it was to do with the DNA. And if he touches anyone who's actually, if the chemical actually is reacted with someone else's DNA, they end up dead if it's that particular person. So, so James ended up actually killing him, basically, in the end, but he didn't know. He just had this, like, sort of acid sort of thing all over his face, chemical. It's like a poison or something. It was poison in the bloodstream. But if it was also poison in his skin because he actually came in contact with Blofeld. So Blofeld ended up getting this chemical which James Bond had, which he wasn't affected by. So James Bond wasn't affected with it. So because Rami Malek's character came up with this like sort of almost like a virus spreadable thing. So so he ends up dead. They go to this secret island to try and do a face-off with Rami Malek's character. And sort of they have to, right, try and nuke, not nuke, but blow up the entire compound. It's a massive compound with a science lab and all this kind of stuff. But they've got all these like biological weapons and stuff in there. And it's also on an island with like a rocket sort of thing. So where the rockets come out, so there's a little trapdoor, fire door opens up, and then the rockets come out and stuff. So it was fire blast doors. So his character, James Bond, had to basically open up the sort of fire blast doors so that they could actually go in there, type in the code, and get the missiles coming down. Now, when it got to that entire sort of film, and they did a showdown, now Rami Malek's character said to James and stuff, he goes, I'm not a bad person. I'm not. He wants to make the whole world tidy. He said to kill off some of the people, the greedy, the needy, and all this kind of stuff. So he was on a mission to try and make good. But Rami Malek's character kidnapped James Bond's daughter, and he already had this goal, so he was trying to lure James Bond to this compound in the first place. Now, 007, the woman 007, she comes with him. She comes in this like Firebird plane where it's like almost like a bird and a plane. And when they landed on water, it turns into a submarine. So it was absolutely amazing. Really good. Now, the thing is, right, the blood that he had inside him. Now, James Bond had a face-off afterwards, and they were shooting loads of action in it as well. If you like loads of action, you'll definitely like this film. Now, getting to the actual face-off final battle, so James Bond had to try and get his daughter safe and his girlfriend safe, so he put them on a boat together. And then he left and then sort of went off. He said, I'll see you soon, to his, but he put him in like a little boat and sent him off to his daughter and his girlfriend. Now, the bit when it got to it, and he went off and then he shot all the bad guys, went up the stairs, and then suddenly he goes up and sees Rami Malek's character. Oh, actually, I had to talk with him. He actually helped get his wife out, or not wife, his girlfriend out, and his daughter out, and they had a bit of a showdown. Now, once he got her out as well and all that, and put them both on the boat, he goes back and he has to go upstairs. He has to go to the fire blast doors, open them up, because he wanted that, and he goes to Q and all that. He goes to Q, which is the guy who makes his cars and puts all his gadgets and all that. He says, right, I need you to send the missiles now. And he said, I want them now, because they wanted to blow up the whole entire compound. So he's gone, basically sent the missiles. He said, and then OQ says to him, well, I can't send it now, right now, and all this. He said, yes, you can. I need you to do it now. So he got his wife, girlfriend and his daughter out, sent them to the other island, safe and all that, whilst he's still in that building, and the missiles are coming, but it was going to take 9 minutes. I think it was 9 minutes to the missiles would get to there. Now, so Daniel Craig's James Bond and Rami Malek's character, they have a bit of a face-to-face. Now, he sort of opens the fire blast doors first, and then he goes back downstairs and all that. And next minute, the fire blast doors are shut again, right? So they're shut again because someone is basically closed them all off. And I'm doing a video in a minute. What?
He's done those towels.
Yeah, but I'm
Saturday.
Yeah. Well, that's Saturday. It's not here yet, is it?
We do the video.
I'm doing a video review, a movie review of the James Bond film.
Why?
Well, because then I could do videos and people can do a spoiler one of all the spoilers. Yeah. Anyway, so he goes after Rami Malek's and his character, and they end up sort of having a fight. So he goes into this garden, which is like full of poisonous plants and all that kind of stuff. Now, Rami Malek's character, he's got this like little veil of poison, right? Which goes straight into the bloodstream. And apparently it gives them a certain amount of time to live and all that kind of stuff. But they can't get it out of the body. Once it's inside the body, that's it. It contaminated. You've only got a matter of hours left to live. So the other thing, right? So Rami Malek's character gets a gun, shoots James Bond on the floor and all that, shoots him in the leg, and or not the leg, I think it's somewhere along the thing, but he was bleeding anyway. He was like sort of bleeding out. And then Rami Malek comes, or his character comes over, and James comes up, runs at him, has a sort of fight with him, and they're having a sort of tug-of-war battle sort of thing on the floor and all that kind of stuff. Next minute, Rami Malek's character dabs the needle straight into the head of James Bond, which is that's got the serum in it, the poison, which cannot be reversed. They cannot reverse that because of the poison in it. It's a biological sort of thing, so it makes the whole inside face and outside, makes it all like sort of scarred up, and then basically they boil up and it's some sort of plague or something kills him eventually. I think he gets hours to live. So James shoots the guy, or he has a sort of fight with him first, and then he's actually, Rami Malek's character has been poisoned as well, because he's got it in his hand and it's gone all over, because it was like a sort of the blood. He broke open basically the veil, which was made of glass, and it's gone all over his hands and into his veins already, and all in his hand. So when he dabbed it straight in, it broke off, and it's broke off in his hands as well. So he, Rami Malek's character and James Bond, they both basically been poisoned, sort of to that thing. Now, it was packed out in there as well, by the way, guys and girls. Very packed out in there today, in the cinema, or yesterday now. There's absolutely a lot. There's a lot of people. There was this one bloke sitting next to me in the cinema, and he was coughing like hell. I just had my mask on. I had like my mask on and all that shit. So, and also what I really didn't like, actually, it was really dark in there as well. The whole cinema was absolutely pitch black and all that. Not the cinema itself. Right, so in the screen's massive, right? Now, there's certain parts of the movie where it was really pitch black. You could hardly make anything out. It was way too dark. I thought it was way too dark. And then it got a bit brighter with the bright areas and the daytime scenes, and it was fine. But still, I don't know, the quality on it as well looked really down. It didn't look like high quality to me. Yeah, that's my opinion, but it's because I got a 4K TV, so I kind of compare those to like cinema screens. So getting to the fight scene there, the fight, he ends up jabbing sort of James Bond with it, and then the next minute he's got it himself on his hand. They're both like, Rami Malek's character, he says something to him about him dying and all that stuff, and he said, looks like both of us have come out like scathed with all this, like they're both dying and all that. Anyway, so James comes up, gets his gun, shoots over his character, Rami Malek's character. He ends up dead. James going up to open up the fire blast doors so that the missiles basically go off, and all the rockets go off, and he starts climbing up to the roof of the top of the sort of factory or laboratory or whatever it is, but climbs up to the fire blast thing up to the top, and he's on the phone to her, and he's talking to his girlfriend, and he goes, "Are you okay?" He said, "You're both fine." She goes, "Yeah, we're both fine." And he goes, "That's good, that's good, that's good." And like, they're having a talk. He's telling her he loves her and all that stuff. And she said, "You've still got time." She goes, "You've still got time to get across the island." Now, because he's been poisoned, James Bond's girlfriend has the DNA sort of thing, so she's been targeted for it. So if he ended up going to her, to his girlfriend, he would end up killing her too. Now, he phones up Q, and Q says, "Oh," he said, "Come on, you got to get off the island. The thing's gonna blow up in a minute." And he goes, "It's too late." So basically saying it's in his bloodstream already. And he says to him, "Is there any way getting this out?" And he goes, "No, unfortunately, there's no way of getting this out of his stream. Once it's in there, it's in there for the rest of his life, or till he's dead, which is a matter of hours or minutes or seconds." So Q's like, oh god, like, because I think he knew that James wasn't sort of that he's been poisoned. So the next minute, really, so he sends his goodbyes to his girlfriend, and for the first time in James Bond history, it was a very, very emotional episode or film. It was Daniel Craig's last James Bond movie, but by the looks of it, it was the last movie of the James Bond series ever. So basically, the rockets come off. They came shooting up in the air, and you see them more shooting up in the air, and they start sort of spreading out like fireworks. And you see James there, just standing there, James Bond looking up. All these magnificent sort of fireworks things from the rockets, and he looks up to the rockets, and it's almost like he was sick and ill anyway. He looked like he had the flu or something, really ill. But obviously it was because he was been poisoned, and he was like slowly dying anyway. So, and he didn't want to give his girlfriend it. So he was up on top of the roof. The next minute, these things fly off, and they shoot down onto this island to blow up the island, and then you don't see James no more. And going towards the end, going towards the end, you've got basically M sort of saluting James Bond off for his final mission, and says goodbye fella and all that, and says to James. So I think what they've done is, this has been, what's it, nearly 60 years coming up, or it's coming up to 60 years of James Bond, I think. Actually, I should have a look. How many years of James Bond is it? I think it's coming up to 60 years soon. It'll be the 60th anniversary, I think, of James Bond. So look. Let's have a look. So, how old is as of 21? There have been 25 films of the Eon production series. The most recent Bond film, No Time to Die, is the 6th actor. How old? Actually, let's have a look. How old is James? Let's have a look. Right, so how old is the James Bond series in 2021? So, does it tell you? Right. So the James Bond series focus on fictional British Secret Service agent created in 1953. So, so 50. That can't be. So set this 1953. So say 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 2000. 2010, 2020, what? It's not 70, what? Is it 70? A short story. Oh, no, it's the James Bond series focused on fictional British secret agent created in 1953. So that make it, so originally, minus the films and all that as well. So you're looking at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 70, 70, yeah, 70, it's about 70 odd years of James Bond. Wow. I mean, can't believe it. Yeah, so, I mean, it's been a long, long time due to all the James Bond series and all that. With 160, I said that as a monster, a series of long goodbyes. Okay, so 70 odd years of James Bond, right? Or 70 plus. That's not including the movie. That's including with the movies, the books, and all that kind of stuff, or whatever it is, the comic strips. But 70 odd years, I mean, that's very long for a series in itself. But I'm not too sure how old the movies are. Now, if we go back to the first, let's have a look. First James Bond movie. All right. Actually, the first James Bond movie I think was a spoof. Was called Casino Royale. Actually, where is it? First James Bond movie, which would be Doctor No, 1962. So if we're talking about James Bond movies, so you're looking at eight. So say 1960. Let's take off the 2 minute. So 1960, 70, 80, 90, 2000. So 2000, 2010, 2020. So 2021, 2021. So about 2000. So we're looking at technically 70 years. That's not 7. So just under 70 years. What? That's a bit. So 60, 70, 80, 90, 2000, 2010. So 2000, 60 something then. So it's over 60 odd years in. Because it says here 1962. So that's quite an interesting one. But anyway, what they did is they killed James Bond off due to like the sort of fireworks or whatever explosions. And then we had the music at the end. We only have time in the world. They did a bit of Louis Armstrong. So that was pretty cool. That they did a nostalgic sort of take on Her Majesty's Secret Service. And I actually was right from the get-go that they were going to probably kill him off. I thought originally they were going to sort of kill basically. Oh, it's coming up to 50 minutes already. Jesus. So I thought they were going to actually kill off basically his wife or girlfriend. I thought they were going to basically get married at the end, and then you'll find Blofeld still alive, and then he ends up sending out all his spectres to kill her off, and then it will go into James Bond 26. But was I wrong? I was absolutely devastated. I was actually I'll tell you what, I was almost crying, guys and girls, in there. I had this like tear down my eye. It was like very, very emotional to that point. And it wasn't a bad emotion. It was that was sending off this guy who's been a part of our life for so many years, and now they've just killed him off. But they do have more double O's, so we could see another 007 turn up, 006, 005, 00 like 2.0.1. We could have all those new James Bond style things, or we could have another James Bond eventually, but like someone else taking them. So the original James Bond probably is gone now, so they'll have to find something to, or maybe he faked his death, because we didn't really see him get blown up. We saw the thing and then it cut, and we have to make up whether he's actually dead or not. But I don't know. I mean, the MI6, they do a lot to try and sort of fake his death. I mean, they faked his death before and all that kind of stuff, so it's one of those things, really. But anyway, guys and girls, if you enjoyed this episode for nearly 51 minutes, 52 minutes nearly, leave a like, favorite, share, comment, subscribe. I hope I haven't spoiled it for you. And if I have, well, you shouldn't have been watching it anyway. And I did actually say to you guys and girls at the start, this was going to be spoilers in it, and it will be in the title as well. So, but anyway, cheers for watching, guys and girls. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the next episode.